I'm Hunter, the host of In the Know.
And I'm Maya, the co-host of Hey Girl.
And welcome to today's special election coverage. Today we have special guest, Judge Bob Vance, who's running for Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court. Thank you, Judge, for being here with us.
Good to be with y'all.
Okay, so we're going to start with the basic question. How did you become involved in politics? Where did you go to school and things of that sort?
Okay. I was born and raised here in Birmingham. I was a lawyer practicing for a number of years, and then in 2002 I was appointed to circuit judge, which is the trial level judge here in Alabama, by then Governor Siegelman. So I've been serving as a circuit judge since that time. I've stood for election in that position 3 times, and I've continued to serve ever since then. I ran for Chief Justice of the Supreme Court 6 years ago, back in 2012, and now I have again qualified and am running for the position of Chief Justice this go round.
So I would bet, and if this is you need a history lesson, but I would bet some UAB students don't even know that Alabama has a Supreme Court. So tell us a little bit about what does the Chief Justice do, and why did you decide to run for this position?
Okay, it's just going back to sort of high school civics. 3 branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches. Of course, the governor heads the executive branch, and we have the Alabama legislature. And we've got a court system here in Alabama with the Supreme Court of Alabama at the top of the judicial branch. And the head of the entire court system is the Chief Justice. Now, he is one of 9 members of the Alabama Supreme Court, but his responsibilities extend much further than just that. He really is the head of the entire court system in Alabama. So the Chief Justice has the ultimate responsibility of making sure all the courts in the state are open and functioning and serving the people of Alabama.
Awesome, awesome. And as college students here at UAB, we're really hoping that we have a big turnout in the election coming up on June 5th. How impactful do you think that millennial voters will be in this election cycle?
I think that the impact, the importance of millennial voters is huge, and it's only growing. So that's a very important part of the electorate. And I know that candidates are really focusing on the millennial voters as a very important part of the electorate. Now, there's great potential, but that potential has to be realized. Folks have to actually get out and vote. But if millennials are energized and pumped up about the elections, then they can really have a significant impact on the results of those elections.
Another big part of Doug Jones' campaign was that he had a high number of African American women voters.
Yep.
How do you plan on reaching those voters?
Doug Jones' win was in large part because of a large turnout. He would not have won without that African American support. So from the Democratic side, that has to be a core component of any winning strategy. And again, the focus has to be on getting the voters in these communities energized, get them invested, and having them turn out on election day to vote.
So tell me, on the federal level in the federal Supreme Court, our justices are not partisan.
Right.
Why statewide do we run by party?
That is a fascinating question. Of course, in the federal system, the judges are appointed, nominated by the president, confirmed by the Senate, and there's no ostensible partisan elections like that at the federal level. But even at the state level, Alabama is only one of maybe 3 or 4 states in the entire country where judges have to run under partisan banners. There are several states where judges run for election, but in a nonpartisan way. So by historical accident, Alabama is just one of a very few number of states where we have to qualify one party or the other and run for that party. And it doesn't make a lot of sense if you think about it, because once you are a judge and you're in a courtroom, no one wants partisan politics to have any role in what a judge does. And certainly when folks come before me, I don't care what political party they are in, just as much I don't care what gender you are, what race you are. political party. None of that should matter in how I do my job. So the fact that we have to run as Democrat or Republican in partisan elections, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think about it. But that's just one of those historical things that we've always had here in Alabama.
Going off of that, I think here in Alabama, we oftentimes have people who stick with the party simply because that's who their parents or their grandparents have been a part of. Do you see us breaking that tradition with our generation,
I do.
the millennial generation?
I sure do. And I think that's a real big trend to watch. Millennial voters are not as interested in just going in and blindly voting for one party or the other. I think, to your credit, y'all are much more in tune with what the issues are and voting based on what your beliefs are. And so you're not beholden to political parties. So any politician who thinks that he can get the support of younger voters, for example, just because that candidate is one party or the other, I think that's making a big mistake. You've got to make it clear why people should support you. And it doesn't matter what party you are, because younger voters in particular, they want to be comfortable with who you are as a candidate. Mm-hmm. If they're going to support you with votes, financial support, what have you, they really got to know what you stand for and make sure that your beliefs are the same as their beliefs. So that's part of the task that someone like me running for office has got to be mindful of. Nothing can be taken for granted. We've got to always show why you should support us.
All right, well, Judge Vance, we appreciate your time and you sitting down for this interview with us. Is there anything else you'd like to tell to UAB students about you or your campaign?
You can go to judgebobvance.com. I've got a website up and running now, and that'll provide a little bit more information about me. I won't be on the ballot in June during the primaries because I don't have a primary opponent, but I will be on the ballot come November. And between now and then, I would just encourage UAB students and everyone to learn more about the election process, learn about the issues, get pumped up because your votes do count. They do matter, and they shouldn't be taken for granted.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Hunter Drinkard.
And I'm Maya Jolly.
See you next time.